Hey guys, it's Keith. I promise not to get too worked up over this Reddit post. I know that I spend a lot of time. My friends warn me that I let these kind of conversations online get to me. But I found this one to be just really interesting in the contrast of the kinds of people that live in Los Angeles. This is the subreddit Eagle Rock, which is a neighborhood in Northeast LA. And just to orient us, I'll look at the map here. This is Los Angeles. And I've highlighted Santa Monica on the west side, downtown here on this east side. This central one is Hollywood. This guy here in the middle of these points is Silver Lake. Up here above these mountains is Burbank, which has a lot of Hollywood studios in it. And then on this side of the hills is Eagle Rock. This is Northeast LA with Glendale, kind of between Burbank and Eagle Rock. Eagle Rock is kind of known, along with the rest of Northeast LA, as a cool kind of suburban. It's part of the city, but it's over the hills, and you'd usually take the freeway there. So it feels a little removed from central LA, which is this. So we're looking at this area here, and it has points of interest for visitors, and people like me move there. So we're looking back at this Reddit post. This is a growing encampment by the dog park. This was posted on the 14th of July, 2025. And these are the photos. So this is like a typical thing. You might even see this in your city. These are everywhere. But should they be? The post reads, anyone else getting increasingly concerned about the rapidly expanding encampment that's been developing near the entrance to the dog park? It started with this car that's been parked there for months, ironically just past a no parking between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. sign, and new tents and people seem to be settling in there by the week. It's growing fast, and the amount of drug use and traffic I see there is alarming, especially so close to the park. I also really hate it for the poor dogs living there that are being subjected to such heat. But I've reported it on the 311 app, but don't expect anything to be done about it. Would love to band together to help the situation, just don't know what to do. This is a concerned citizen. That's what this is. This is somebody that just sees this happening and doesn't want it to happen. And the reactions to this are just really interesting because, again, Eagle Rock is a pretty homogenous place, demographically speaking. LA is really diverse, so it's not that homogenous, but it's just a lot of millennial couples, maybe some yuppies, maybe hipsters. No one's super rich, no one's super poor. So that's the kind of place that we're picturing. It's kind of like, along with Highland Park, it's kind of like a Portland, Oregon kind of place. This was not the first comment when I went on this yesterday, but it is now. I lost everything when COVID hit. Ended up on the street for 2 years before I could get housing. Took 2 years, and it can happen to anyone. One unexpected bill, one accident, one injury. The list could continue on. What can you make fall? What can make you fall? But we need more compassion, and people would be more willing to help. This is a really badly worded, and I don't want to give this to me could be a bot. This could be a bot. This is a really, really new person account. DK Viper 87 again. Maybe not, but they've only been on Reddit for 1 day. They have 20 karma, almost all from this post. They have been removed from Portland protests, a public freakout about ICE. This comment says, no one owes you a fucking answer, you dumb, ignorant liberal, in a different subreddit. This one was removed. So this person is all over the place. And to me, this really feels like it was made to be agitating. And so I just find it interesting. Like whenever something like strikes me a little odd, I try and like look at the history of this account, and this is like super suspicious. And yet somehow it's the top voted comment. Now this is a small post, this is not a big deal. This is a small neighborhood. I say small, it's like, 50,000 people. But isn't that interesting? That like the sentence structure, it's just not well written, and maybe it is a down and out person that's not that literate, but I suspect that it's a bot. And the comment back to it, I'm really tired of people using the be compassionate argument. It is totally unacceptable for people to be doing drugs at a park regardless of housing situation. And yes, these people are 100% on drugs. Some of these people may have fallen on hard times, but there's a tiny home community built specifically to help this vulnerable community. They don't use the resources that are available because of the no drug policy. We have been compassionate by building the tiny home community. We deserve to enjoy our parks without piss, shit, needles, trash, tarps, and shooting shopping carts. I upvoted that. I totally agree with this point. It only has 4 upvotes versus the 15 for this kind of bot sympathetic cry. And again, looking at this top comment, the thing is, like, we can all sympathize with somebody losing everything when COVID hits from being paycheck to paycheck and maybe losing, like, the thing is, like, it's so suspicious. In California, rents were frozen. Like, tenants did not even have to pay rent during COVID, so I'm not even buying that. But fair enough that people go homeless. The thing is that the vast majority of homelessness does not look like this. The vast majority of homelessness, 90%, are people that are down and out and struggling and between situations, losing one home before moving into another. I've actually been there myself. People like that, like I did, they find friends and family to crash with. They go back home to their parents. They crash on the couch of a close friend. That's what people do. That's what normal people who experience homelessness do. They might sleep in their car. Most people have shame. Most people are embarrassed by that situation. They'll park their car somewhere sight unseen. They'll go somewhere that's like, out in the exurbs or something. This is not a result of this kind of sympathetic story. It's just not. And like this other commenter points out, there are solutions that Los Angeles has. We spend a lot of money on this topic, and there's one here in Echo Park near me, this tiny home community. It's a really humble situation, but it has dignity. It's gated off and private, and you can go in there and get cleaned and get some food and access resources, because LA loves providing people with resources. The only thing is that it has stipulations like no drug use. And these encampments are all drug dens. You have to appreciate that. We're going to dig deeper into this. Does the tiny home village currently have vacancy? As far as I know, they're generally at capacity. That's like a fair enough question, but the thing is that every part of Los Angeles has been required to build these kind of homes, like throughout this whole region, not just in Central LA that we're looking at here, but like all of this has these kind of like available shelters. People just don't want to access them because they like being on the street, free to do whatever they want, free to do drugs, free to commit crime. There's no punishments. There's no mandatory rehabilitation or institutionalization. And that's the problem with California, in my opinion. And so I'm looking at this Reddit thread and I'm seeing my voice I'm echoed in these comments, but then I'm also feeling a lot of pushback. This person asks, did you do drugs? But no one responded. Would love to support, just not sure what we can do. Have also seen drug paraphernalia in this area. Would really like to get this cleaned up and help if possible. Park 1 minute over on a street sweeping street and you get ticketed. Build out your camp car on a no parking spot and full pass. And that's like pointing to this irony, this ridiculous hypocrisy of the system wherein the city of LA and its enforcement will ticket someone like you or me who is essentially law-abiding but accidentally was like, this far into a red curb, or our meter ran out, 10 minutes ago, and something like this. Or, we have so many parking rules about you have to have a permit or only these hours, and there's plenty of jobs for enforcing those and getting the city paid. Not as bad as New York, but it's not good. So those laws will be upheld very, very strictly. Whereas, you have these signs like no parking 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. because you don't want encampments like this, but then people just look the other way. From the city's point of view, maybe there's just no money to be squeezed out of these people, so why bother? But it's like, that's not the point of the law, to squeeze money out of people. The point of the law is for order and to enjoy civilization. That's the point. Okay. There is a tiny homes park just across the street. Is it full? Why aren't these people moving there? Oh, I see. They're not allowed to do drugs there. Besides the dog park, there's a middle school just south of Colorado Street Avenue. And those kids many times walk from there to the recreational park next to the dog park, passing by people shooting drugs. Does the city consider that acceptable? I uploaded that. Still has less than the top. This should not be acceptable. Encampments within a certain radius of the tiny homes are supposed to be prohibited and cleared out promptly. That was part of the deal. I'm not sure how I pronounce this person's name. This is a politician in LA. Isabel Jurado. Isabel Jurado is breaking that deal and failing the community, including the residents of the tiny homes who are trying to get away from all of that. We all need to call Jurado's office and complain. She's the one responsible who has any authority here. The mayor's office is powerless by design. In LA, it's the city council reps who have the power to get shit done. And unfortunately, our rep is Jurado. So this is like a really helpful response, in my opinion, because it's highlighting the way that the city actually works. Like what we're looking at on this map. There are 13 districts in LA, and LA itself looks like that. Los Angeles City, for better or worse, is shaped like this. So within this red, there are 13 districts, and those district leaders are the ones that have the power to do something like a street sweeping. And so, yeah, we're looking at this one over here, not too far from me. I live around here. And it's true. Like, mine is Hugo Martinez, I think. And he ran on this platform of no more sweeping of encampments, which is insane. But it comes from this compassion argument, and it's popular. That's why they got voted into office. Our last one, actually mine was Adam Schiff before Adam Schiff became a senator. But Adam Schiff cleaned it up, which I liked. And now Echo Park Lake is clean. That's here. So you see homelessness encampments all around all the time, and usually they do get swept up at some point, because I think there is a regulation that the city has to do that at some point, but it's minimal. Let's get to that. Before the tiny homes were built, both sidewalks under the freeway overpass were completely taken over by a homeless encampment. I would not be in the least surprised if under Jurado we went back to exactly the same situation, plus the tiny homes. Contact your city council person. I think Jurado. There used to be a homeless outreach request you could make with LAHSA, but I don't know what's up with that agency now. What does LAHSA stand for? Los Angeles Housing something. And regardless of your empathy scale on this issue, there should not be encampments at parks. Can we all just agree on that? So this was the top comment last night when I was on Reddit, and it's down to 5. And this one is up to 14, 15. Wow, this just went up while we're talking, and this one went down. So there are people in here. I would even suspect bots. I'm not sure. But it's hard to say, because this is getting me off topic, thinking about astroturfing and Russian meddling and influence and all these other kind of ways to disrupt society. But without all that, I think there is a contingent of our society that disrupts itself, which is baffling to me. Like, I don't know why you would want to live in a city and allow this, but let's get to some of those comments. Jurado is anti-4118 and has stated that she'll do the bare minimum required regarding sweeps or cleaning up encampments. I believe it's 2 every 6 months, but not certain. So 4 times a year, so every season or so, these encampments have to be swept by law, I guess. And that's the bare minimum. I don't know what 4118 is, but I guess that's a city code. Considering she said, F the police, on camera multiple times, it's safe to assume she'll be of no help. Her office isn't even fully staffed, and it's nearly impossible to get a hold of her. So this is spoken like a person like me who's kind of annoyed and has tried to go through these channels legally and has met resistance. What staff is she currently missing, and what methods have you used to get in contact with her office? I've always gotten someone. Or you can mind your own business. People are trying to survive out here and don't need people like you using 311. Fucker, let them be. Now, this is like what really gets my blood boiling, this kind of comment. Like, this 2-line comment has just so much in it that really, really bothers me. It has this sense of like, I mean, minding your own business in this context, it just almost feels like don't care about society, don't care about community. Like, it's almost like raw to its core in terms of community building and compassion for other people. This isn't like a mind your own business, like let people do what they want in their bedrooms or something. This is like our city streets that we all share. This dog park, by the way, is really nice. I take my dog there sometimes. People are trying to survive out there. No, this is not what survival looks like. There are available beds and toilets and showers right next to this. That's what a tiny community is. It's right next to this. If you're trying to survive, you could just go there for free, and food is brought to you. This is not survival. This is drug use. This is people that just want to set up and do drugs in here. And a lot of crime goes on, not just drugs. You know, there's a lot of sexual assaults and thievery happening in these kind of spots, you know, with this kind of person here and their dog. And like, you know, just to go back to that dog, you know, in this original post, this person even like mentions the dog. Like, this person is compassionate. We're showing compassion by wanting to sweep this. This is not like a, you know, I think I grew up a lot with this like conservative idea out there that like Republicans just want to kill the poor or just round them all up and throw them in cages or prisons, kind of like the way that people describe ICE enforcement. That's not what this is. It's out of compassion. Even ICE, immigration enforcement, there's a lot of child trafficking, sex trafficking. There's a lot of sexual assault or at least coercion with men saying, like, you know, there's a lot of coyotes bringing people over the border and saying, okay, I'm going to pretend that I'm your husband so that we all get benefits. Like, there's so much crime. Crime begets crime. Like, it's not shocking, right? Like, if you cross the border illegally, you're going to fall into so much crime. Fake driver's license, you know, like forgery and stuff. Identification theft. And in this case, when you just want to do drugs, which are, you know, I'm a legalize everything kind of absolutist in terms of drugs so that we can regulate them. Like, I don't see a problem with people doing drugs, but when you criminalize it, even when you don't enforce that, instead of people just being able to do it in a shelter, for instance, and I'm not saying that I condone that necessarily, but some sort of rehab, you have this situation where people just create their own tangential society. It's like 2 different worlds on top of each other, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But like this comment, people are just trying to survive out here. No. Don't need people like you using 311. 311 is literally a governmental service for the people. It's like 911 for emergencies and safety issues and crime, and 311 for like, I have a big piece of furniture I want to get rid of. Fucker, let them be. Like, this is just so hateful. It just like really pisses me off. Luckily it's downvoted. Try submitting an LA HOP request. So, you know, there's a lot of people that are here being civically minded and active, which is great. All right. Get them a house if you don't want them homeless. Just let people live, or fucking help them. Don't post about like they are a problem. They are people who have issues that need help, not judgment. Why would any want to help themselves when society treats them like they are a burden already? 5 upvotes. Now that is the same person that posted this top one. So those 15 and 5 are the 20 upvotes this person has ever. Bad grammar. Like, even ChatGPT would write better than that. Not that people can write at the ChatGPT level in general, but it just feels like really suspicious, you know? And people upvoting it. And it's like, who's upvoting this? Are those bots or are those activist types? Okay, but we did get them houses. There's one of those tiny house communities right across the street from where the photo was taken. The reason people post about homeless encampments like they are the problem is because they actually are a problem. Stop pretending like they're not. Like, I upvoted that. The reds are what I'm endorsing. These have the same amount. So by the looks of it, in our society, it's a 50-50 thing of people that are very sensible. And these are not Republicans in Eagle Rock, Los Angeles. These are all Democrats. These are all liberal leftist types, center left. And within that kind of center left to radical left spectrum, you have an equal number being represented on Reddit. And again, I'm wondering how many of these are bots. I agree. These comments are shocking. These people need to help. They're not vermin to be eradicated. They are living beings with lives and emotions. It's sad. This is the kind of language that I hear at anti-ICE protests. This is what I hear in reaction to Trump. And I just like wonder, like, I'm let's see if this is a bot too. This language, these comments are shocking. Call 311. There's a tiny home community. Let's help these people out. Like, those are shocking comments to you. These people need help. Exactly. You think leaving them on the street is helpful? It's not helpful to leave people on the street, you guys. They're not vermin to be eradicated. Like, this kind of phraseology is so awful. This is like Nazi language about Jews and during the Holocaust. They are living beings with lives and emotions. Like, I don't need to be told that human beings have emotions. Like, this is not an argument, ever. That is never an argument. But this, like, incendiary language, as if someone like me thinks of this woman here as vermin. I don't think of this woman as vermin. I think of this woman as someone that's really struggling, and our society is letting her fall through the cracks. Like, we have solutions for her. We do, but we don't mandate them. That's the problem. We need to mandate for their own good. That's my opinion. But it's just crazy to me that this is like as popular on Reddit as a common, sensible, like compassionate plea to clean up camps like this. Both things can be true. People can need and be deserving of help while it is still unacceptable to have unhoused encampments in public spaces. Absolutely. And has less upvotes. If you look at the comment karma and length of time, half of the insanely inhumane comments here have existed. It's pretty clear to see a lot of them are bots and troll farms. So I also, again, am wondering, like, let's just look at this one. Hard to say. This is probably a real person. They've been on Reddit. It's a cat lady for a year. It's hard to fully say, but they live in LA. Rabbits, fantasy romance, women. Yeah, this is a real person. But this person who says both things can be true, I mean, this is definitely like a normal civilized person. Yeah, with, since 2018, thousands of karma. So that's basically one that I wanted to show. Just like, this again, that's the whole thing. That's all of it. Cool. You hate the unhoused. Thanks for letting us know. Original poster. It hurts me. It really hurts that the radical left not only is the group responsible for this. This is the group allowing this to happen. This is the group that pushes to abolish the police, to legalize crime. Under $1,000, you can basically steal whatever you want in LA. You can shoot drugs and, pass out on the sidewalk anytime you want with no repercussions. If you do get arrested for yelling at a woman at the grocery store while on meth, you will be back on the streets in a day. It's like a terrible situation, and the radical left is responsible for that. And I have to just say two things. They want the destruction of Western civilization, and they say as much. They think that it's corrupt. They think that it's white supremacist patriarchy. They think that it's that capitalism is evil, and they want it destroyed. That's what the far left wants. They say it the same way that you have to trust jihadist Islamist terrorists who want to kill all Jews and that America is the devil. They say it and they act like it. Obviously, I'm using they very broadly. Of course, not everyone who agrees with a far left position thinks that America should be destroyed, but the core of its ideology is that, and it comes out of academia, and it's real. And not only do they want that to the detriment of all of us, they think that they're morally superior. They think that that is good, that we should be destroyed, that we should lose our homes and our property because property rights don't exist, that we should lose everything because hierarchical structures shouldn't exist. Like, it's insane that this is even acceptable, that the Overton window has been stretched so far left that this is cool to say. And that, someone here in Los Angeles who cares about their community doesn't want to see these encampments growing. That is a reasonable thing. You cannot assume that because I might care that this is bad, that I hate homeless people. That's wrong. I hate the scourge of homelessness as an epidemic. That's what I hate. But then it's like, oh yeah, cool, you hate the unhoused. Fake news, Karen Bass says homelessness is under control. That's a funny joke. So sorry that people trying to live are an inconvenience to you. And that's a real person who's active, very active in their comments. This is a real person. Vinyl collectors, tattoos, bleach, Costco, politics. This is a radical leftist. Oops. This person's saying, you hate the unhoused, spider lover. 1 year, not a lot of karma, but, one of these kind of overly done up. They live in Glendale, it looks like. They're a spider person. Ventura, Law, Redding, maybe they're from Redding. Al Jazeera, Philly, Albuquerque. This person's all over the place. Laguna Beach. So this is actually suspicious to me. This is sus. I don't know what this person's deal is. You are the epitome of self-victimization, projection. Talking about people's education level while simultaneously exhibiting poor education level is astounding. Bravo. So this is like a hateful person maybe bought. Maybe their goal is to just be subversive. You know, you have to realize that like Antifa has cells, terrorist cells. I don't know about calling Antifa a terrorist group per se, but it makes sense to me if you think about terrorism as the intentional targeting with intent, a way to take down society, essentially. Like if you instill terror, or if you do certain acts to a civilization, that civilization will be weaker. And so I think that Antifa has that in similarity with Islamic Jihad, and they are strange bedfellows. Islamic jihadists are the religious conservative patriarchy that leftists claim to hate, and yet they support that, which is insane. It's just insane that that's the case. The idea that housing will solve homelessness is unfortunately just not tenable. You take a group of people who are often drug addicted with mental illness, tons of antisocial behavior, and horrible habits, and give them housing. That's how you create projects. They ruin the housing because they don't know how to behave as an adult integrated in society. This is the reality. This needs an upvote. This is being downvoted. Reddit is saying that they disagree with that. And this is why I probably need to spend less time on Reddit. This is a very sensible little exchange here, talking about treatment centers, mental health hospitals, European examples. Like this right here is great conversation, and no one cares about it. No one is downvoting or upvoting any of this, but this is all good. And it's just sad to me that this kind of comment gets buried. So anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you guys. I just think it's just really important to consider what our vision for the world is. I think we should start there. What world do you want to live in? What does society look like? What do the streets look like? What do the houses look like? Start with that. And then work in all the complexities. Houses are obviously going to look different. I'm appalled by some of these amazing mansions. Some of them look really nice, obviously, but who needs that much living space taking up such valuable real estate in the Hollywood Hills or, Malibu? Who needs all of this when we have such suffering? I've been very amenable to the idea, for instance, of a maximum wage or a wealth cap of some sort. I don't actually believe that now. I'm too libertarian, and I think that freedom matters more. But the sensibility there is valid. But I think laws about wage in general are bad, including minimum wage. Market can set that, and you can get a new job. You can rise up. Minimum wage jobs are not for 40-year-olds with families. That's not who they're for. Housing, shelter should be a guaranteed right in a rich society, and it is. New York is a shelter-first city, and it doesn't have the blight of homelessness that California does. California is a housing-first state, which is ridiculous because housing is very, very difficult to get a lot of the time. But, I'll just end with looking at my map here. Actually, no, I'll save that. But there's a lot of space in California that's not being used. LA is just a dense place, and so if you're trying to live in Eagle Rock or Hollywood or Santa Monica, it's going to be hard to get housing. It's a market. There's supply and demand issues. That said, we do provide beds and restrooms for everybody. So this is compassionate, and this is what we need to do. And we have to imagine that that's a society we want to live in. And whenever somebody fights me on this topic, I have to wonder, what is your goal? What world do you want to live in? And it's very often the case that it turns out that they want to burn it all down, that they think that the U.S. is an evil patriarchy. They think what an Ayatollah thinks, that the USA is the devil. Like, if that's what you think, you need to grow up, or just step aside and get out of this conversation, or go travel and, just grow up, really. It's so unhelpful to have to share a political space with this ideal with these ideas. All right, guys, those are my thoughts for now. Until next time.